Welcome to this week's podcast slash vlog. Today we're actually going to be talking about coaching, because I never really plug coaching on YouTube or really the podcast, to be honest. We've brought on a special guest, which is Sir Joseph.
Hello.
Joseph been a client since 2019, on and off, because that's what happens. So we're obviously going to talk about the kind of being a prospective client. What's it like to be a client? And kind of what can you expect from coaching. So without further ado, Joseph.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. We just trained Push at Kratos.
Yeah.
Cool gym.
Very cool gym.
After the day after the client meetup, which was cool as well.
Yeah, we had a client meetup yesterday. We had a fair few people. We're actually going to be doing a few more in-person events. So we're going to hopefully have one every 3 or 4 months, but we'll see. Obviously, it has to align with people's schedules, which is always fun to try and manage. So, first question we're going to ask Joseph is: so why did you want coaching in the first place? What was your need?
I think for me, it's mainly about accountability.
Yeah.
I kind of have the knowledge. I've trained since I was 16, now 32. Yeah. And obviously we start off, we don't know anything. And then we progress, educate myself through different, streams of information, Instagram, social medias, all that type of stuff, but then also other courses. But no matter what I told myself, this is how you should do it. And, literally it was logical what it was. I found ways to talk myself out of it. Yeah. So that could be I need to put on a little bit of size, or I need to be out of a deficit for a while, just let everything stop being, in a deficit. Yeah. But then I'd convince myself that I was out of shape, too fat, etc., etc. And I think just having someone who wants to obviously wants you to succeed because it's part of their business, yeah. But then also obviously on a personal sort of relationship level, it's like you want the best for you do anyway, not necessarily all coaches, but you certainly do want the best for your client. Yeah. And I think it's just having that accountability each week with the check-ins and even the daily WhatsApps. Yeah. Where it's just if I'm having a bit of a day where I'm thinking this isn't going well, can I do this? Is this worth doing? Yeah. It's just a text away where I can go almost like a help button, and then you're straight back onto that then.
Or kind of why people reach out to coaching in the first place is always accountability. Again, the people that I get nowadays, it's not necessarily about I need the knowledge base. It's more so I just need this is the goal. Am I doing what I need to get to the goal? And then also in weekly check-ins we talk about, are we actually having the kind of actions, are they aligned with getting towards a goal? Yeah. Because it's very easy, especially as you well know, in a deficit or something, it's very easy to be I need to do it harder, or in a kind of massing phase I need to potentially push on a lot of weight, or I'm not pushing on a lot of weight. You can almost go the other way kind of thing. So you can almost have a massive rate of gain or a very kind of little amount of rate of gain, and it's never normally appropriate. And of course in a massing phase, you'd always want to mini cut because you might have a little bit of fat coming in on whatever. So I think number one reason why people obviously hire me as a coach is obviously the accountability side of things.
I think the main thing for me is as well that the second guessing of everything created such fatigue mentally that had such a negative impact in every other thing. So my sleep was getting worse. My appetite was either really poor or really high, depending on how the stress was handled. Yeah. And just adding, my life's quite not stressful, but I'm a business owner. I've got a wife, dogs, all that type of stuff. When that stress bucket's already reasonably full, you start adding these extra stresses of, am I dieting too much? Am I not dieting enough? Should I be adding more cardio? Should I be training harder? Should I be doing this? that just fills and overflows a stress bucket to the point where you just sabotage yourself then.
100%.
And by having someone kind of like yourself who comes and goes, this is the plan, you know, if something goes off plan, this is how we get back to the plan. And it's almost like you come in and just kind of tip a little bit out the stress bucket and go, carry on.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, that's my biggest feeling with how our coaching relationship is anyway.
Okay, so what did you expect from coaching, and then like what was the kind of goal, and how did we kind of work around that?
So initially, when I'll talk about the goal to start with, just to give people an idea, because there might be people in similar positions. I'd recently got engaged, so obviously in 2019, I got engaged to my now wife, and I don't know if everyone does this, but it's like, I want to be in best shape of my life for my wedding day and the honeymoon. And that was going to be in August of 2020. And we started in around September, October of 2019. So it gave us plenty of time. I'd explained, obviously, to yourself about like the background I had, who I'd like how I'd trained, if I'd had any sort of previous coaching or experience of that. Obviously, the in-depth consultation with yourself, and then we plotted a plan of action. From then, we obviously got in great shape for the wedding and the honeymoon. Then kind of took a little bit of time where we just kind of relaxed a bit, because obviously the amount of stress going into a wedding is a lot, and then added deficit, it's not amazing. So we took a little bit of a break, and then the following year, obviously COVID and everything was really prevalent. It was in 2020, and we were lucky, to be fair. We managed to have the wedding, but and then 2021, it was like a little bit more of what we do and what do we want, and didn't have like necessarily a solid goal. So kind of we planned that the following year I was going on a big family holiday, and it was a case of like, let's get in reasonable shape again. And then now the goal is, obviously, it's like I've got a bit of an itch I want to scratch with regards to competing or doing a photo shoot, just kind of pushing beyond that kind of holiday lean and just seeing what I'm capable of. But doing it like our way, in other words, where it's not like a be all end all, like this has to happen, etc. It's like life is going to come around, so we're going to do that.
100%. That's it's definitely like I think if you got that itch, especially for competing, it's like it's just always going to be there, like until you obviously scratch it. It's like it'll be there for like 5-10 years or whatever. Same with me.
Like you wish you'd done it back when you were able to, before kids come along and all that type of stuff. So
and then as for what I expected, I suppose the only thing I can say is I expected a certain level, and then you just far exceeded that. So like for me, it's like I'm probably never going to find another coach that hits the level that you do. And I'm pretty sure all the other clients will say the same. I kind of came from, I had a short period of time with another coach. I won't name any names, but it was it was quality in the way of what was delivered, but then the accountability felt too distanced. So it would be a case of I'd ask a question one day, and it was all email correspondence. So it'd be like 2, maybe even 3 days, I'd get a reply back. There was a time zone difference and stuff like that. So for me, I was kind of expecting that. But then when we had our consult and you said, no, listen, I'm available on WhatsApp, like, feel free to bombard me. It took me a little while to get the confidence to keep doing that, because, well, to even start doing that, because I was like, oh, I don't want to hound him. And there'd be times where I'd say, oh, I'm sorry to hound you, but such and such. And you'd always be like, no, you're not hounding me. Like, that's what I'm here for. So I kind of just expected, obviously programming, the usual stuff, but then, the whole, like, looking at me as a person, how my mind works, how, like, you know, what type of moods I can go into and how to deal with that has obviously been developed over the years, but that's where you exceed from anyone else I've seen or worked with.
Yeah, I think I think a lot of people when they join with me, it's almost like they go through that phase where it's like, I don't know whether I should be texting you or not. Or you can go the other way, where it's obviously like it can be like loads and loads of texts, and obviously it's from then it's like potentially we don't need to know like every single grain of rice that we're eating.
Yeah.
But I think that most people, to be honest, are almost like, I don't want to take up too much of your time, and it's like, you're paying me.
Yeah. Like especially now. Like back when we started, obviously you were part-time because you also had your full-time job. So it was like, I remember being sat there and being like, this guy's replying to me like 9 o'clock at night when he's been up, been to work, come back, done his check-ins. And I used to feel really sorry for his wife. I used to be like, oh, I feel sorry for this guy's wife. But now obviously you're full-time. I don't care. I just send you memes all the time now.
So, have you got any questions?
I think something that would be good for people out there is to kind of like what type of clients you like to take on, because I think some people will look at certain, you know, transformations and be like, oh, I couldn't do that or I can't do that. Whereas I think you're actually a lot more accessible to a lot more people than what people may think. So I suppose my question would be like, you know, not necessarily who's your target demographic, but who do you like to work with or who will you work with? And I suppose it's like, you know, what makes a client a good client?
Yeah, I think like a lot of the target demographic for me is obviously like who I was when I first started lifting. So it's almost like young male who wants to get like build muscle. That's always like the one that I'm more interested in or the most interested in, just because it's like how I came up. That's basically what it is. So I know I know everything how to kind of to run that situation because I've obviously been through that situation. But to be honest, like the majority of the people who come to me are like in the category of like losing weight, right? So I don't like we're kind of in this situation right now where, especially with coaching, is that potentially I don't have a necessarily like a person who I transform. It's kind of like I will get anyone anywhere. Like whatever goal that is. It's like I have people who are competitive bodybuilders. I have people who are kind of competing in like high rocks functional fitness training. I have people who want to lose weight. I have people who want to just get jacked. I have people who want to kind of like do photo shoots. Just like I think my targeted demographic is always like who I was, but I think that the majority of people and who I enjoy to coach is like I just enjoy pretty much everyone. I just enjoy coaching. I kind of wake up every single day and I'm just like, fuck, I'm so grateful for this job. And obviously the client meetup kind of like emphasized that a little bit, which is like you saw the amount of different people who I coach, right? And it's like I know everyone as well. Like I know exactly where they are in the mesocycle. I know how they train. I know like I might not know exactly their program like there and then without the Google Sheets, but like I know a lot about them. I know if they've got dogs. I know if they've got cats. I know if they've got a wife. Like that's kind of the relationship that I kind of like to have with clients. It's very close. Yeah,
I think that's rare within the industry these days. So I'd say that's definitely a feather to your cap within your service. And then I suppose last question would be, like it was touched on before, was what's your perfect client, as in not like what they want to do, just, you know, check in on time and all that. Like is that like what you like about people, like when you're coaching them? I think like just basic communication. So like I think that like a lot of people when they come on board with me want, like they kind of look at other people and kind of like I don't want to let this guy down. I don't want, like if I have had a fucked up week, I don't want to check in. And potentially like I need to be perfect. I need to hit like my meal plan perfectly or whatever. And it's kind of like, this is why you're coached. This is why you're coached by me, right? This is why you seek help in the first place, because essentially you had bad weeks and you didn't know how to deal with it. And you maybe went off track and maybe you're a bit too rigid with your, like that's how you are, like you are, because essentially you get too rigid and then basically what happens is when you fuck up, you're out. And I think that essentially all it takes for me is like just
communication and transparency is two massive ones for me. Like just basic communication, like check-ins, checking on time, obviously the kind of like housekeeping rules, as it were, and just transparency. Like I fucked up at the weekend.
Yeah.
Like how do you want me to do this?
Got absolutely smashed.
Yeah, and like there's certain things that potentially why is scale weight spiked up on one specific day? What happened? What happened there? And it's like, oh, nothing. It's like I know something did.
So, you may as well
So you're up 7 pounds,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So it's like just literally transparency, and it's like the ability to do my job. Like that's it. That's all I ask. Like everything else is I don't really ask too much. Obviously try and give as much as you can to it. Like obviously you're gonna have to at some level train hard and
you're only
kind of go about it.
What you put in
Exactly.
as a client.
But essentially, I'm not expecting absolute fucking miracles from everyone.
No.
Like it's just not gonna happen.
I would also touch on that to say that I've fucked up a load of times, and I'm pretty honest with you about it. But I've never felt ashamed or like you begrudge it or anything like that. So for any clients that you do have now or you're going to get, is just be honest with Jack, because it's perfectly fine. He won't, he's not going to shout at you. He'll probably say, well, this is how you could have managed it better, and then that's always kind of in the back of your mind when that happens. If you go out for food and you think, oh, I could have this, and it's like, does this really serve my goal right now? Like you just have little Jack in the back of your mind, parrot. Little parrot, like just ask yourself this question, or just think this, or even like to the point where I could be like, I'm going to such and such, and I'll text Jack and go, this is where I'm going, blah blah blah. And sometimes you'll even go and look and be like, this is what the restaurant says, these are good options, by all means have some ice cream, have some this, but just be aware your weight's going to be up. But I would say that for sure.
Cool. So that kind of gives you a good insight into coaching and kind of like how it's like being a client of mine. I'll leave the podcast there. Of course, if you want to join the team, you are more than welcome. The link will be in the bio for coaching, and also you can book a free consultation call with me as well. The link's in the bio as well. So peace.